Is it afternoon? I almost said good evening.
Again. It is afternoon, even in Pietermaritzburg.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Let's Talk Automotive. A special little broadcast. We had so much fun the last time we did this setup here with Fritz in front of the camera and, just a little bit behind the scenes of what we're doing here. We're going to have a little bit of a look back at Season 5. Can you believe that we've finished 5 seasons of Let's Talk Automotive, guys?
I can believe it because it's been awesome fun and I can't wait for the next 5.
Absolutely. All right, you guys ready to roll? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Let's Talk Automotive. Bossy Stain joining us saying, hi, you two, good to see you again. Bossy, it's good to hear from you again, man. Glad that you joined us. Thank you very much. Guys, it's been crazy. We sort of missed last week, but it's because it's just busy.
We have been very busy. Very busy.
I just want to say, did you see Marius there?
Did I see Marius? Is
Yes.
Marius here?
Yeah.
No.
He's our big surprise for game time.
Yes.
So don't be afraid. There is going to be game time. So I showed you Marius for a second.
Oh,
There.
no, I didn't
Welcome,
see.
Marius. Just hang in there. Marius
I'm
is going to be
afraid.
ready. Are you afraid?
I should be.
Sorry for interrupting.
No. So, we're going to do something different today. We're going to have a little sort of a recap and a look back at what we did this year. But before we do that, it's Saturday afternoon, so we've got a beer going. There's a braai going outside. We're going to do that just now. But I think, if we look back at the seasons that we've had, not just the last season, we did some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, we have. I was actually on a phone call to a mate of mine on the way here, and he said, how's the show going? I said, it's going awesome. I love it. I love every minute that we do this, the stuff that we get up to, the people that we meet. It's just crazy.
I think we need to up it a little bit. The craziness and the daringness. I think we need to push the envelope.
Don't tempt me.
Yeah, I think we need to push the limit. So listen, I think let's start off the show with the news. This week's news. Okay, so in the news, obviously, like all of you watching the show, we are all MotoGP fans and we are all F1 fans. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the bad news, but we're going to get into it a little bit.
But that's because we're petrol heads.
Yeah, petrol heads. So let's start off with MotoGP, Peter.
Yeah.
The guys have qualified this morning.
Yep.
The second race of the season. The first race definitely didn't go the way we thought it was going to go.
Nope.
I think the last 2 years of MotoGP sort of just thrown the whole thing open and everybody's very competitive. It's absolutely awesome.
It's fantastic to see, but I've got to say that Brad Binder put in a monster performance this morning to qualify 4th. And I reckon he could have done better had it not been for all the accidents that happened. I mean, he got caught out a little bit. He was already 3/4 of the way around his lap.
Yeah.
So he qualified 4th on used tyres, basically. And
That's amazing.
even the commentators were saying that they reckon the Indonesian conditions, which are very tricky. I don't know if you've watched any of the...
I haven't. I've unfortunately been working. But I must be honest with you. The KTM is a bit of a surprise package, and it seems like it's going to be very competitive this year, and Brad especially.
Yeah, I think what KTM have done is they've created a good all-round bike. Fabio Quartararo, for example, has done well today, but even he's saying that when he gets to the European tracks, he's not going to be a feature. So.
And the Ducatis seems to be, how funny, like last year's Ducati's doing better than this year's Ducati.
It doesn't surprise me, especially early on in the season, because the 2021 Ducati sorted out. I mean, they've sorted out all the problems, whereas the 2022 Ducati still got a fair bit of development work to go. So don't write them off. They're going to come back very, very strong in a few races' time.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Ducati and KTM that are going to be the ones to look out for this year.
So Fritz is a bit quiet because he's not like so in tune with the racing stuff. But you know what I enjoy? The fact that before we went on air, he was like, hey, Hamilton and Verstappen, and he's starting to talk the talk.
We're rubbing off on him, eh?
We're rubbing off, and that's lucky because I think, especially if we talk Formula One, there was a bit of a lull. you know, where it was boring and you know the people weren't into it. But I think.
But you said something about Marquez.
What about
MotoGP?
Well, Marquez. First of all, I think there's signs that the bike is getting sorted out.
Oh, it didn't look like it today.
No, not today. I'm talking. I'm building up in testing, and the first race. It looks like it's starting to. You know, but today, I think you said he finished up in 14th.
Yeah, very low down the order. He had 2 crashes in qualifying. One of the crashes was sensational because he crashed on a reasonably high-speed corner, slid on his backside as he hit the kitty litter and slowed down, flicked himself up into a sprint onto the...
It's one of those falling in style.
Yeah, falling in style.
Got on his bike, went back out, crashed again. I think on the same corner.
I love that, Peter. The whole thing of from a rookie kind of point of view from my side is I look at this stuff and can he still make it? Can he still do something? And I find it lovely. So yes, Ronnie, I'm getting into it.
Look, I think Marquez in particular is not to be written off. Wait till we get to the European tracks. You know, the bikes are designed around the European tracks. These outlying tracks are good for the likes of the up-and-coming guys that want to showcase themselves because it levels the playing fields. But I think once we get to Europe, we're going to see the same old.
We'll get to highlights later, but remember the guy from Track Days that we had in studio?
Yeah,
and it opened my mind.
Dave.
It opened my mind. It's one of my highlights, but it opened my mind that you can go on a track.
Yeah.
I'm not too old. I mean, you're 2 years older than me.
75.
75 years older than me. But it opened my mind about the track thing. So I'm really getting into things, and I'm really curious of what's going on.
I love what you say there. You're not too old, and that's the reality. I think a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm not going to do this because I'm too old." You're never too old.
Okay, I don't want to jump the gun. Sorry.
All right, so MotoGP, that's tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
I think around 9ish.
Well, we'll start at around 9. I think it's. I think Moto 3 will start at around 9.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we'll miss the live race, but you'll keep me updated.
Yep.
We are off on a Fitbeg Diaries outright tomorrow.
I see it was fully booked.
It's completely fully booked. We're going to be just over 50 bikes joining us tomorrow, and we're going on a Fitbeg Diaries outright here in Gauteng. The first of many, hopefully. Yeah, well, if you wanted to maybe grow a pair and join us off-road on a bike, maybe then you can join.
It's not growing a pair, it's just having a bike that you don't mind me crashing.
Because you can.
Because you can. Okay, so that's that for MotoGP news, but now... Now, we're going to talk about the Formula One.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, probably I've been looking forward to this year for the last 2 or 3 years because we knew that, 2022, the new
cars,
the new regulations, everything. And we really hoped that this would level the playing fields.
Yeah.
And I know it's early days, and I know we've only seen some practice.
Yeah.
But it seems like a lot of interesting stuff's happening.
Well, we spoke about Lucky Engineering on our last show. We said there might be a team that shows a bit of Lucky Engineering, and I think that Haas is one of those teams. Also Alfa Romeo, nice and high up on the timesheets. Mercedes-Benz really struggling with porpoising, and that's why they're down at the bottom of the grid.
Let's stop there quickly. Porpoising, okay, because this is the first time, and I don't know if I was just completely deaf to it before. Is this the first time I'm hearing about porpoising in F1? What is that? What's porpoising?
Well, porpoising is another name for a dolphin, so porpoise. So dolphins swim like this.
Okay.
And that's what the cars are doing. So they are porpoising down the main straight.
Wait. Let's go to today's How Things Work.
Yeah. Listen, I've got so much to say about the technical aspects of what's going on this year at Formula One. Because remember, one of the How Things Work that we did this year was on the new tyres and rims for Formula One and the implications that was going to have on the suspension of the Formula One car. And even at that stage, I said this could open up a whole new can of worms for the designers. Because
Peter, would you say a big talking point in this Formula One current season is suspension, aerodynamics, and traction, and that is that a big talking point?
I think it's important to say now. Or just highlight a couple of the things that's changed for this year's season. So let's start with tyres and rim size.
Tyres and rims have changed. So we've gone from 13-inch tyres, which have got a nice and 13-inch rims, nice high-profile tires, and 80% of the suspension actually was contained in the tires.
In the rubber?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you go to 18-inch rims and low-profile tires.
So
Suddenly,
it's the same circumference of
same
the
ride
tire
height, yeah?
with a bigger rim. So it's a low profile.
Low profile, now more heavy suspension and more complex suspension tuning. And this is where I said last year even that this could open up other teams with Lucky Engineering. Those who get the suspension tuning right are gonna be the ones that come to the top of the table. And we're seeing this as well because another thing that's being reintroduced into Formula One, of course, is ground effects. So the way they're trying
to
clean
from the
up,
80s, right?
It is from the 80s.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. So to stop the dirty air that's created by the actual wings, they've allowed ground effects now, which sucks the vehicles down. And you'll notice if you look at the Formula One cars, if you look at them from the rear, you'll see this big box shape at the rear, and that's the diffuser coming, or the diffuser at the rear of the vehicle. And what's happening now?
What does it play? How does it influence the porpoising?
Okay, so the way it influences the porpoising is that the ground effect is designed to give the cars traction around a corner. So you set your ride height, your spring, your stiffness of your spring, so that it's appropriate for the car cornering. Okay, but down the straights, because they're creating so much downforce, what's happening is the cars are sucking down, they're bottoming out, and when they bottom out, they lose ground effect, the suspension pushes them back up again. So they're doing this all the way down the main straight. And some cars have got it right. Ferrari is looking ominous, I've got to tell you. They are super smooth down the straights. Red Bull, to a lesser extent, I think are just behind Ferrari in terms of that, but Merc are nowhere.
I wish we had Sasha here to give us some light on it.
Yeah. Listen, okay, so I think everybody's sort of closer together, which makes it, I mean, seeing a Haas sort of at the top, even in practice, they were never there.
It's lovely, isn't it?
So it's lucky, and I said to you last night, if the Formula One season this year opens up that the Ferraris and the Haas team and AlphaTauri and everybody is competitive. Imagine there's 4 or 5 guys at the front trying to win.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good for the sport and good for the spectators as well.
It is, but it also highlights just how important the car is in terms of the winning package.
Correct.
Where you can have an 8-time world champion languishing down in 14th position.
Exactly. 7 times.
7 times. Oh, my goodness, that was a Freudian slip.
Don't do that.
But yeah, I mean, but there are a couple of drivers I'm very delighted for. So Kevin Magnussen for one.
Yes. I think we've got a picture of Nico Hülkenberg.
Oh, he's another one, Nico Hülkenberg.
Yeah,
I mean, Nico Hülkenberg is showing his class as a driver.
So he's back only for this race in Vettel's spot. Yeah, because
Vettel's got flu.
Yeah, he's got flu. Okay. So he's not allowed to go and race. So Nico is back in and did well, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. He's right up there.
Looks proper.
He's right up there with Lance Stroll.
Interesting thing that I want to actually just maybe ask you. What does he do when is he like a test?
He is a test driver, so he's doing a lot of sim work, for example.
Okay.
So he says he's a bit rusty because he hasn't been in the car for 6 days. Okay. But he's been in the simulator. So, but nonetheless, again, what people forget are the stresses that you're under physically in a Formula One car. So simulator doesn't simulate the actual G-forces that your neck has to put up with. So for him to get back into the car just from a fatigue point of view and do what he's done is again showing his class.
Guys, we're not Formula One.
No.
Yeah,
but I definitely I want to talk about.
I just want to get to the fuel price.
No, relax.
The fuel price.
Just go to the practice. Yes, the practice. So this is what Peter sent me yesterday. So that was practice 2. Okay, so we can't read too much into this.
No.
Okay, so Verstappen obviously happy. He's happy. Yeah, he's thinking about it. This Ake's probably not too happy. I don't want to talk about it too much, And then the last thing that I just want to...
I want to show you a champion pick.
Yeah, just show us...
that can work.
For the viewers out there that said we are biased and,
You're right.
And you know, what did they say? We were
Unashamedly biased.
Yeah, this is our guy. We support that guy. But anyway, that, like you say, we're not Formula
No,
One.
the show is not biased, but I am.
Yes. Okay, so the bad news in the last news story that we spoke about is the petrol price.
Yeah.
And here again, there's lots to talk about. You know, we've spoken about petrol price, we've spoken about levies, we've spoken about the portion of the actual rand per litre that goes towards, you know, the government. And while we sat here, just before the show started, we did some calculations. And why don't you share that with us quickly?
Yeah, so I mean, at close to 60% of the fuel price is made up in levies. And if we just have a look at South Africa's fuel consumption per month, we use anything from, and these are difficult figures because they're from 2020. We don't have the latest ones. And we know 2020 was low.
Yeah.
So you can almost double these figures.
Yeah.
We're using anything from 500 to 700,000 barrels of fuel a day in South Africa. Okay, and you can get 159 litres of petrol, for example, out of that.
Yeah.
So just on petrol.
Per barrel.
Per barrel.
Yeah.
The government is earning between 1 and 3 billion rand a day on levies.
That's insane. I mean, and the reason why you worked this out, I said to you, imagine what a 10-cent or, you know, could affect making a day's earnings for them.
Yeah.
And we just did the calculation quickly, and now
massive.
we're talking rands and 2 rands. Can you imagine what
Well, I mean,
impact
but
that
you're seeing
could have?
other countries that are recognizing that. So Japan, for example, is capping, or in fact dropping their levies by about 30%.
Yeah.
Others are capping it. I just, and we had this discussion on the radio this week, and economists were calling for it, and other economists were saying, but if you stop the fuel levy, it stops government's income. Which irritated me a little bit because we are not a poor country when it comes to revenue.
Sure.
We're a poor country when it comes to the fact that our government steals all the revenue.
Yes.
And if we just learned how to stop doing that, we'd have more than enough fat in the equation to cope with these kind of things.
Exactly.
But my other question I've got that's also nice and controversial, and I'll throw this one out. And a buddy of mine, Mike, actually reminded me of this. And he said, listen, we're a member of BRICS. So that's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. We've already have our government taking sides in this whole conflict. So we're already in trouble. We're going to get into trouble for that stance. Why don't we source our fuel from Russia? And the reason why I say that is India is doing that as a member of BRICS, and they are buying oil at $30 a barrel versus the over $120 a barrel Brent crude that we're currently paying.
That's insane, Pete.
Yeah.
And interesting to think about. So, in theory, that could already be the case.
It could be. Oh boy, aren't we having Wayne Divinage on the show soon?
We are. We
must maybe ask him to investigate that, because actually that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
So, Peter, your opinion, what realistically could the fuel price be dropped to if you take a substantial amount of the taxes away? That's still viable for the government, and we can still survive.
Well, if you look at our neighbours, they at 11, 12 rand a litre, while we're at 20. So I think those are the kind of levels. But listen, the other
It's
thing,
another 8 rand.
yeah, for
That
sure.
they could shave off to just allow me to get to work and
Yeah.
back.
But then they'll argue that they lose revenue, and I'll argue that they should stop stealing the revenue.
Yes.
It's a simple, But the other thing we're forgetting, of course, is that some of the OPEC countries are also taking advantage of this. I mean, we've had fuel prices way higher than this before. So 2015, for example, we were at $140 a barrel, but our price of fuel in South Africa was 11 rand a litre. So it just shows the impact of levies.
Yes.
But fuel prices should be, in my opinion, for a stable economic environment at $80 a barrel. Then everybody wins. The OPEC countries make money, they're profitable, and it's economically viable for us as consumers to pay for the fuel. So maybe there should be another conflict started to drop those fuel prices. I don't know. I'm just saying.
All right. On that bombshell.
You fell hook, line, and sinker for that one.
I think let's get into our discussion with regards to highlights when it came to guest of the week.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I think it's important to say thank you very much for joining us live. We've got a couple of people, and I know it's not in our regular time slot, so it is a bit different to what we normally do. But the guys watching, please understand that this is an interactive show, so it's live, coming to you live. Like Bossy did, Peter said, hope that you are winning today, so he hopes that you wins game time today. I don't think that'll happen, because in the 5 seasons that we've had, there's one guy that just every week comes to the party when it comes to game time, and we've got Marius on the show tonight to join us for game time, so hopefully that works out nicely. But yeah, it's interactive, so please, if you want to share your thoughts, if you have a question, if you want to tell us that we look beautiful or fat, whatever you want to say, you can
or
say
that we're unashamedly biased.
Yeah, if we're biased, whatever you want to say, you can say it. Now we're live, so I want to see you guys quickly. I'm looking at the screen. I want to see some likes, so you click the like button. I'm looking at the screen, I'm not seeing anything yet, there's a bit of a delay. So go like, and also share, guys, please share it with
but
your
we
friends.
are in guest time.
Yes, so in season 5, let's talk about some of the guests that we had on the show that stood out for us. You know, we spoke about Dave Estes and now, Jack Days. That's been awesome, that's something that you enjoy a lot. One thing that stood out for me, I actually have 2 highlights that's very dear to my heart, and that was first of all Joey Evans. So we've got a little. Let's just have a look at the intro here when Joey joined us. First of all, Joey Evans. So we've got a little. Let's just have a look at the intro here when Joey joined us.
What an absolute privilege to have.
First of all,
this
Joey
hero with
Evans,
legend.
So we've got a little. Let's just have a look at the intro here when Joey joined us.
When you drove into the studio just now,
First of all,
there's
a
lot of guys
Joey
here drive around
Evans,
with Jack Acoustic on the back.
we've got a little. Let's just have a look at that. So Joey Evans joined us. Peter, it was actually mind-blowing having a legend like Joey in the studio with us.
And we use it, I think a lot of people use the term legend loosely, but Joey is a genuine legend. It was amazing for me that, for many weeks afterwards when I said, we had Joey, when I was talking to friends, and I'd say, we had Joey Evans on the show, and I'd say, Joey Evans, wow, what a super guy, or I know Joey, or whatever. Just the reach that this guy has is unbelievable. So really fantastic.
Some of the things that stood out for me is when after we had Joey on the show, I got a copy of the book, and Miranda van Dam actually won a copy of that book as well. I see Miranda is out riding a motorbike today. She's not watching today. But reading in his book and seeing that a guy like Adrian Storm that joined us on the Kalahari cruise was actually mentioned, in Joey's book. That just made me think.
Just mentioning Adrian makes me teary.
Yeah,
He's like a rock.
Okay.
Yes.
I haven't met him, so you'd have to educate me.
Yeah.
If you didn't see Footback Diaries, the last episode, there was an awesome interview with him and his 2 boys.
Okay.
I mean, I lost my dad, so anything that people do with their kids and that camaraderie, wow, no, that was great. So if Adrian is looking at our show, I'm in.
All right, so a second one that stood out for me, big time, was the girl on her bike, Kinga.
Kinga,
Yeah, so Kinga joined us. I don't know if we can show this.
Yeah, of course we can.
So,
but we have to pause the other one.
Okay, cool. Is that what the problem was?
So Kinga, I'm a biased guy when it comes to shows and stuff. Like you've got the content, but you have the presence.
Yeah.
And how she blew me away. You guys remember in your ears I said, the energy is contagious. I can't believe it. And she was engaging and shared and that. Yeah, she was one of my highlights. By far.
So that's Kinga. So for the guys that didn't watch the show, please go back. It was episode 67. Kinga joined us. She's currently still in Cape Town, but she is on her way overseas to Canada. She's on her way to Canada now at the moment. So, very interesting to see
one of the top
follow
3
at this stage in my life, because Because if I could just jump on a bike and just travel the world, that would be absolutely, just a dream come true.
This was
and
the
luckily,
intro, right?
we
Yeah,
have
this
a
was
little
the
bit
intro,
of that
yeah.
with Footbag Diaries.
It's no exaggeration, Kinga, by the way. I mean, Fani will, if it's a tsunami or a storm or a hurricane, prefers being on his motorbike than in a car.
Yep.
It is that bad with Fani. So yeah.
I agree because cars are boring.
I agree. And the first second that I'm stuck in traffic, that's when I just give up.
Yep.
I just don't
And a
wanna
waste of
drive a car.
time.
Absolutely. Kinga, so
Yeah, this was
because
great.
the world was, shut. Africa sucks.
So she told us about the stories,
On the
how she
street.
handled,
Oh, with my
lockdowns and traveling, and she was traveling, I think, well before a lot of the world opened up again. And she said that she was a lot of the time she was the only tourist,
traveller.
yeah,
Yeah.
in some of the places that she was, and it's absolutely silly.
And what's interesting, she was a live wire, very gregarious person, very people orientated, and we said to her, how do you cope with being alone so much? And she said, well, that's the point of doing these trips, is to meet more people.
Yeah.
So it must have been tough for her during those periods, I must
yeah.
say. But I've got to say, again, what an inspiration, because here's a person, she's a civil engineer,
Yeah.
top of her game, has an incident that happened to her with an accident, and thought to herself, well, you only live once, let's do this. And here she is earning a brilliant living out of this and seeing the world.
But it was a combination of a physical incident and also an emotional incident.
Yeah.
And she said, I'm going to claim my own back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something. And the interaction we had with her seems like she's kind of happy.
Absolutely,
And isn't that the basis of everything? I heard those Australian rugby team bases, their first principle is fun. And we do what we love.
Yeah.
And I was brought back and like, first fun and enjoy what you do, and then the nitty-gritty comes in, and she was such a testament to that.
Yeah, absolutely. You're spot on.
All right, guys. Then I'm not going to intro the segment, but we did a lot of cool reviews this season as well, and I've picked out a couple and maybe just show a couple of those as well. But the first one that stood out for me when I thought back of what we did was a very unique driving experience for us all.
To say the least.
And this is if I remember correctly, a 6 million,
Seven.
7 million.
6.5.
Okay, let's split it down.
Depends on the options.
A 7.5 or 6.5 million rand off-road supercar.
Yeah, it's called what it is. It's a supercar. It's the technology
The
on
Fear of
this.
the
It's in the
Balkans
form
are
of
my
Terence
favorite
Marsh
because you still
from
have the
Redland.
freedom and you
Motorsport was the other
can.
one there, I
Yeah.
think.
Now what a mess. Okay,
Don't worry, she just doesn't want to go away.
Yeah.
so this was Peter and Terence Marsh from Redline,
Terence is
and
gonna take
they
us
built and
through
designed
an
this
amazing
proudly South African
supercar.
car, and Peter just completely blown away.
It was incredible. If you look at the fact that this is locally built, there's some serious engineering on this. I mean, I had an absolute field day walking around Terence's factory.
Yes.
Having a look at what they do and what they've produced is just incredible. So a lot of clever design features that they've incorporated into this. So they've focused a lot on visibility, but also where the weight is located on the vehicle, so that they've maximized the center of gravity of weight. So I'm looking forward to see this now in some serious competition, and I'm following obviously Terence on Facebook.
Yes.
And he's getting a lot of traction from overseas buyers on this.
Yeah. And not only for this vehicle, but also for the normal, what is it, the T6?
The T6.
Yeah, so
Is it a T6 or T1?
oh, now you've confused me.
No.
I had 6 in my head. But anyway, yes, you're right. Absolutely right. There's a lot of the vehicles that they build right here next to the Kyalami racetrack in that Kyalami business park that's being shipped all over the world, competing in Dakar and all these hectic...
So the Rally
extreme-
Raid series
Yeah.
around the
And the
world.
one thing that actually caught my attention with this review and everything was that, so I asked Terence, so why this car? And he said, rich fancy guys buy a Lamborghini and they have a top road supercar. This is a top supercar off-road.
Yeah.
And it blew my mind because I thought this is a competition rally car. I said, no, there's people that drive these cars and the time spans that they actually last, and that they said, listen, in the last 4 years we had to change 2 tires and oil and a belt or something.
Yeah.
But it just changed my mind.
You're actually right on that. I mean, that was one of the things that we did ask him,
reliability.
was how much does it cost to run a car for a season? And it, if you have a look at the cost of a lot of the things, so the suspension system, he was talking about the shock absorbers by themselves.
Yeah.
You're looking 200,000 plus for the shock absorbers, and you go, whoa, but they last forever.
Yeah.
That's why they cost that much.
Yeah.
What does it cost to service a Lamborghini? It's oil.
It's got a maintenance plan.
It's got a maintenance plan. But I mean, I can compare it to this car.
Yeah.
What do you want to drive? Do you want to drive on a tar road, or do you want to drive off-road with a
I mean,
supercar?
spot on. I mean, if you had to run let's take a Lamborghini in a supercar series on the track versus running one of these, once you've purchased this is going to be cheaper to run, despite the fact that it's going through hell versus the track equivalent.
So definitely one of my highlights also.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the other cars that stood out for us this year was definitely the Land Rover Defender. Peter, we've done 2 reviews on Land Rover Defenders now. This was on the short wheelbase, the 90 series. You did the experience with the 110 there at the Experience Centre. Experience Centre in, where is it?
Sunninghill.
Sunninghill. But this time around, we had the car for
About a week, eh?
we had, for about a week, and we did some town driving with it.
Yeah.
So let's have a look.
Serious 4x4 track. And so in today's review, we've got the 90, and we're going to rather do some curb 4x4ing.
Because let's be honest, that's what most people are going to buy this for.
Ah, for sure. And so let's give a nice perspective of what it's like to have this
We need to
as
be cool
a
when
daily
you do this stuff.
okay,
Okay,
vehicle.
So we've had the vehicle for a week now. We've had huge fun.
I'm still jealous.
But let's just talk about the exterior while we're here. We started on this because this is impressive. So, This front of this car is
I
just
think
one of the things that we're trying to show the guys here by looking back at some of these reviews, Peter, is that all of the reviews are still available on our. Well, there's 3 platforms now. So first of all, they can go to Facebook and go onto our Facebook page and go to the videos tab. And there's playlists for the reviews, how things work, and the shows, etc., etc. And then on YouTube, the same.
Yep.
So you can go to Let's Talk Automotive on YouTube on our channel. Please, when you go there, subscribe. And then you'll get notifications of when we upload the new stuff. But there's also playlists, reviews, how things work, shows, etc., etc. And also on our website, letstalkautomotive.co.za. You can go there and look back at all of this amazing
For instance,
content.
you can go and then search for the Navara review.
Yeah.
That's when I took the Navara on foot tires to the Kalahari, and you can see my beautiful face. So it's just an example, that's all. But
By the way, that was actually one of my highlight reviews. I
Yeah.
thought that was stunning.
Thank you, Peter.
Here's a Navara in its element, in very difficult environment, towing a trailer, and I mean it performed flawlessly.
Yeah.
it was genuine.
4,100 kilometers.
And 50.
And
So,
50.
Yeah. But
There was one of the things I wanted to say about these reviews that I don't think people necessarily appreciate, and that is that these reviews are authentic. Nothing is scripted.
Yeah.
Fania and I will drive the vehicle, and Fritz will drive the vehicle, and we don't discuss it beforehand with each other. We really do formulate our own opinions, and we do the review unscripted, and I think it gives a better representation of the vehicle, especially from a point of view of being petrol heads or diesel heads. So I think it's important for the viewers to understand that the reviews that we do are from the heart, not from a script.
Absolutely.
Well, so much so that I could interrupt seasons ago with a Corsa and say, listen, you guys gave it not 100%.
I remember that, yeah.
But I like that because, I mean, we are 3 different guys. You're super technical. Fani's been in the motor industry forever. And I'm a camera fanatic. So if you want a genuine opinion, we could offer you at least some of that.
Just can you believe Pierre Breitenbach joined us? He says, what a season, thanks for a lot of highlights. Thanks,
Who's
Pierre.
Pierre Breitenbach?
You know what? Pierre Breitenbach used to be a very famous South African actor.
I actually don't
What do
know
you mean used
who
to
he
be?
was.
He still
Because
is.
he's now a super famous morning TV presenter.
And
see how I saved that one.
I just want to say thank you, Pierre, for my shirt.
Yeah,
if it
thanks
wasn't for your shirt,
Thanks for
I
my
would
shirt,
have
Pierre.
showed
Yeah,
my
thanks for my
muscles.
shirt, yeah.
Oh, did he give you this Levi's shirt?
No.
Thanks for joining us, Pierre.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Pierre.
so we had a lacquer season. We had lots of highlights. One of the highlights, obviously, for me was doing a review. Like you said, Peter, a review of a adventure motorcycle in the Kalahari.
Yeah.
I mean, who gets the chance to do that? So you know, guys test bikes, and you know, yes, you get a long-term review, and you get the bike, but taking the bike to the Kalahari and
I see
going,
Brian's content, and I love it. And
Yes.
he tests those, Brian Chain,
Yes.
and he tests those bikes, and I'm always jealous. Where did you get that? Wow,
Yeah.
that was cool. And so, but sorry, Brian, if you're watching, but that BMW review
But
was really
what I loved about this review, not only was it you know, a real life scenario review, but Pierre Breitenbach's camera work with his helmet cam was just sensational. I mean,
At the end of the last episode, it's like a reflection part of the show, and he says, "Can you imagine that even this underrated F850 adventure performed so well?" And I thought, yes.
yeah,
that's
because you
awesome.
know that was the reason why I took that bike for the simple reason that a lot of people don't rate the bike and don't think that it's capable of doing something like this. And there we
well,
took
Kinga
it.
rides the previous
Yeah,
version.
she's also
and
got
she had reasons for it.
Yeah.
It's a, you know, it suited her frame, and even though she's carrying a lot of luggage and all that type of thing, it copes.
Absolutely.
Perceptions.
Yeah.
Maybe is that not part of our review and our storytelling pod? Is to break perceptions.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, some of the lesser known brands had amazing vehicles, and some of the very, very prominent, important brands disappointed us.
Well, I mean, listen, I know it didn't happen this season, but our review of the Mahindra organically has been an incredible success from a views point of view.
Yeah.
I think it maybe seeped a little bit into India itself, and we got some massive viewership in India.
But if we
nonetheless,
overproduced that and it wasn't from the heart, what would the reaction be? So yeah, I'm totally
So
with you
I
guys.
think bottom line is we'll keep on doing it the way we're doing it because it's our show and we're going to do
I
it our
will
way.
paint the show the color that I like it.
All right, guys. So that's a couple of highlights looking back at season 5. But I think we need to get Marius back on the line. Is Marius there? Can I introduce Game Time?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Game Time. Where's Marius, Fritz? You pressed the wrong button. Hey, Marius! Marius, how's it going?
what a super cool, huh?
Can you say something? Can we hear you? Can we hear you?
Thank you once again for having me on the show
Thank you very much.
for the second time.
Yes, we also had Marius, I think, at the
With
end
Andre.
of season 3.
When we had a bra outside.
Yes, we had a bra outside and we had him on the show. Marius, we thought that we would get you back on the show today because of your loyal support. So thank you very much for being such a loyal supporter. And if I had to go back and look at all the episodes that we've put out, you've probably won the most how things work. Games that we've had over the 5 seasons. So thank you very much, champ, for joining us, and hopefully today goes the way it should go.
Thank you once again, guys, for having me on the show. What an honor it is. And maybe Peter can win this one.
Yeah, I think so because it's difficult.
I don't know.
So let me just say, you told me before the show that I should tell Peter this, but I'm going to tell him now live on air because I forgot. Okay. So Marius works for Audi in Hatfield.
Yes.
And we all know that. Okay. So Marius has arranged for us to go and do a review on the new, what is it called, Marius?
e-tron GT.
Oh.
e-tron GT.
I actually saw that at Geratech yesterday. It looks amazing.
So thank you very much for that, Marius. We'll come and visit you guys soon to come and do the. Can you believe that?
Sure.
Thank you very much for
Champion.
it.
Thanks, Marius.
Okay, so I think let's start how things. Or what is wrong with me? Why do I keep on saying how things work? But anyway, let's kick off Game Time. And for those guys who don't know, we're going to show you a partial picture of a car. And then these guys are playing against each other, but you guys at home can also play along. If you recognize the car from the partial picture, you can just put your answer down in the comments below. But Peter and Marius, you guys will watch live. Peter's also going to watch,
two seasoned veterans.
Yes.
Marius and Peter.
Yes.
I mean, a winner and a competitor.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not a winner.
Okay, so I'm going to switch that monitor off.
Yes.
And they're going to watch on this one so that the delay is equal.
Yeah, so that the delay is equal.
And then the rules, Fanny, please.
You shout your name, I'll come to you, and then if you get it right, Marius, then we'll give you the points. And if you don't get it right, I'll make up some new rules as we go along to give you the win. Okay. Okay, everybody.
I'll take it easy on Peter this time.
Okay, everybody ready? Let's go. Here's the first one.
I'll watch you.
Okay, so there's the delay
Marius.
that we're talking about. Marius already saw that.
What? How the hell?
How
I'm
did-
watching
I
this
think
screen
it's
over
a-
here.
I-
You guys have set me up once again because I'm watching this screen over here and I can see nothing.
Okay.
Oh, here it comes.
Okay, Marius, what was that?
Oh, it's a difficult one. I think it's a Morgan or a Jaguar XK.
Okay, so I can definitely tell you that it is not the Jaguar, but you are 100% correct when you said it's a Morgan. The +4, there you go, my man. Absolutely, this is the way it should go.
Yeah, should. I mean, okay.
Well done on
I'm
your...
not going to watch that screen anymore because
Okay, Peter, you can watch the top screen. Okay, so Peter is trailing 1-0. Marius in the lead. The way that everything's going. Oh,
Michael said Morgan.
Yeah, Michael said
Yeah.
Morgan. He got it right.
Okay.
Okay, so let's put on number 2.
Peter.
Yes, Marius, can you see the picture?
Yes, I gave it to him halfway the previous answer.
Okay, so okay.
Yeah,
so
it's a
what is this?
Jaguar.
It's a Jaguar, and we had lots of fun with this car.
Yeah, geez, we went on the Jaguar experience with that as well.
That was lots of fun.
Sorry to Jaguar for
No, what? Nothing.
no, a little bit of a cone
No,
problem.
so Marius, it's all tied up 1 each. Michael also got Jaguar right. Michael, I think you've got a bit of an unfair advantage. So, anyway.
Yes.
Yes.
Now that I think of it, I'm actually going to watch what he says.
Okay, here comes number 3.
Peter.
Ooh, Marius.
Oh, that was. I'm so confused with the delay today because I'm looking at 3 different screens. Okay, so Peter, you said it first, so let me see.
Yeah, that's a Rolls Royce. Easy Rolls Royce. Ghost.
Which one? The Ghost. Okay, so
Wow.
now I'm getting worried. Marius, did you know that was a Ghost?
I thought it was a Rock, the 2-door one.
Okay. So
I just
okay.
guessed because that's the only Rolls Royce I know.
I'm gonna take Peter's phone away from him because he actually saw the answer in the comments.
That's not true.
So Peter's leading 2-1 at the moment. Yes, Peter's
No.
leading 2-1.
2 to 1.5. Because Marius also knew that.
I like the way you think.
Wow,
Yes.
okay.
Okay.
It's 2 to 2.5. Because Marius and the delay.
Okay, cool. Here comes number
It's
4.
definitely the delay.
Yes, number 4.
Ooh, Marius.
Marius, what is this?
I think it's an Alpine.
Peter.
So obviously that tells you that you're wrong. Okay, so Peter, I'm coming to you. What is this?
That's an Aston Martin.
Yeah, but which one?
Oh, the latest one.
The latest one. Okay, Marius, I'm going to give you a point if you can tell me which one. Show him the picture again quickly.
V8 Vantage.
Yes, absolutely correct. I'm going to give you a full point for getting that right. I'm going to give Peter half a point for saying that it was an Aston Martin.
Okay. I'll live with it.
Okay. All right.
Peter's still in the lead.
Don't be biased.
I'm not being biased. I'm unashamedly biased. Okay, here is number 5.
Peter.
Ooh, Marius.
Oh, close. Okay, so Peter, I'm coming to you first.
Well, that's easy. That's a Land Rover Defender.
Yeah, but which one?
Oh, you're going to tell? Oh, really? The 110.
Okay, so I'm gonna give Peter the point. Okay, now you can switch off the mic. You can switch off the mic. You can switch off the mic.
I can switch off the mic now.
Okay. All right. So what is the score, guys?
Morris is leading.
Is Marius in the lead
No,
now?
I don't know. Oh, you,
I think
all the
That's
guests.
3-2 with all the halves.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
3-2 to Peter. Yeah. To Peter. Okay. 3-2. Okay. Here is number 6.
Ooh.
Peter.
Come on, Pete. You're not gonna beat Marius today.
I am, because that's a Lotus.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Which one? Which one? Do you know?
The latest one.
It's not the latest one. Do you know, Marius?
I think it's the Bora.
Oh, unfortunately not.
I actually don't know what model it is.
Unfortunately not. I'm going to give you half a point, Pete.
Okay.
For
I'll take half a
Lotus?
point, yeah.
What is that? Evija.
Evija, I don't know how you pronounce it.
But I mean, I've seen so many Lotuses. I know, of course.
Lotai.
Yes.
Lotuses, yes.
Lotus.
What is the plural of lotus?
I think it's Lotai.
Lotai.
Yeah.
Low tide.
An octopus?
Well, yeah.
Of course, Roots at one stage had like 30 or 32 Lotusi.
Lotai.
Lotai. And it was from the single seaters and what. It's
Yeah.
amazing, and I could never figure out the shape. So, well done for spotting that.
Okay, so Peter's leading. I think it's now, 4-2 or something like that. But on the last one, let me just see what it is quickly. On the last one, I'm going to give you guys 5 points for whoever gets this right.
Okay.
Okay. Are you guys ready? Marius, are you ready? Here's number 7.
Ooh, Marius.
Marius, what is that, my man?
Bentley.
Okay, so
Bentley.
do you know which one?
Flying Spur.
I think you should take points off for saying Flying Spur.
This is a mechanic when he looks at your engine. Okay, I'm gonna give you the points. It's not the Flying Spur. It is, what is it? I'm gonna tell you now. It's such a weird name. Bentayga.
Bentayga.
Like we're
Bentayga.
supposed to know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a flippin' cool car, though.
But to be fair, all of them look the same.
It's very true.
You know
It's
what
very
car
true.
that? You know what model Bentley that is? The Tenderpreneur model.
Yes, the tenderpreneurs. They drive those.
When PPE tenders go out, Bentley sales go up.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right,
when
so
a
Marius-
brand, when
Marius
a brand
won.
is in financial bother, they make a SUV.
Yes.
Oh, nasty, but true.
All right, Marius, thank you so much for joining us. It was awesome having you on the show. Thank you very much for all of your support through 5 seasons of Let's Talk Automotive.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
What a pleasure, and all the best for you guys and the team. Awesome show.
Thanks, Marius.
Thanks, Marius.
Keep
Take
well.
it easy, eh?
Yeah, that was difficult. You know why it was difficult this time?
Because you guys get
Because we were outside
yeah.
the studio and we couldn't cheat like we normally do.
Yeah.
I realized as
Yeah.
well, Fonny, that the delay happens on Facebook to the viewers.
Yes.
But we thought he was a viewer, but with the direct call we had.
True. That's
it was
very
The delay was to me.
instant. The delay was to
Because you made me watch it on Facebook. You
No, luckily we changed it, but you know what? I love those regulars. Is the lady that won the book?
Miranda.
Miranda, yeah. I just love it when I
And
see the
Emerentia
regulars.
Galdene is also
Yeah, and then we got Brenda Bruce as well,
Yes,
who
Brenda's
also supports us a lot.
Thank you.
Your wife, Nadia, she's
Yeah.
on point every time.
She doesn't have a choice there.
You force her.
Yeah, that she needs to watch the show.
Exactly.
Yeah, she says that she doesn't see me. She doesn't get enough time to see me. So
Is that why she watches the
she
show?
watched the show. Then
That's why my wife doesn't watch the show. She sees me enough.
Funny. You know what? We'll do a show where I stream you to her.
okay. Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah.
That'll be nice.
We offer those services.
Yes, absolutely. All right, guys. I think
Any
let's.
other highlights?
Well, obviously working with you guys.
Oh, thanks, Bonnie.
Oh, it's such a highlight. Sure. Anyway, I think let's get on to how things work because I've announced it like 5 times already. So
And it was a nice ongoing theme.
yes.
Petrol price, petrol
Yeah.
this, petrol that.
So today we're talking about petrol.
Yeah, how
the
we get
difference-
petrol?
How we get petrol. The difference between 93 and 95.
Yeah.
Because 93 is cheaper, eh?
So 93 is cheaper at the pumps, and I think this is the reason why I suggested that we pull this old video back out, because it is an old video.
Yeah.
Because my concern is that people are going to go and fill up their cars with 93 when they should be filling up with 95, and that could cause not only consequential damage to the engines, but they're never going to see the same type of fuel consumption, so it's wasted money at
And
the pumps.
afterwards, I'll make it current to the mean.
Yeah.
All fun time.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I've got
Do that.
something on my sleeve. Yeah.
All right, guys, let's get into how things work, and this is proudly brought to you by Suzuki Auto South Africa.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our next installment of How Things Work. And on this week's episode, we're going to be talking about the mystery of petrol, and in particular, we're going to look at the difference between 95 and 93 octane and what influence those two octanes have on the performance of your engine, the fuel consumption, and perhaps some reliability issues that may come about if you're using the wrong octane in the wrong engine. So first of all, let's have a look at how fuel is made. And ironically, this is not too dissimilar to how we distill alcohol. So for those of you that make your own alcohol at home, you'll be comfortable with this process. But amazingly enough, we take a barrel of oil that we get from the ground, and that barrel of oil is filled with hundreds and hundreds of different types of hydrocarbons. We then take the oil, we put it through a furnace, and we heat it up. And as we heat it up, we break the bonds of those hydrocarbons, and we get a varying amount of different product out of it. Anything from gas through to our petrol or gasoline, kerosene, diesel, lubricating oil, right down to waxes. So the basic principle is that with our hydrocarbon chains that we have, the more carbon we have in these chains, the more energy it takes for us to break these chains and for the hydrocarbons to actually boil out. So we can see here the first one is methane, which only has 1 carbon atom in the chain. The second one is butane, which has 2. The third one is propane, which has 3. Now propane is the gas that you use on your braais. So you can see it takes more and more energy for us to boil these up in that reactor that we showed you in the first slide. Now we work through all the different chains of hydrocarbons until we get to one that is called heptane. Now heptane stands for 7. And as you'll see here, there are 7 carbon atoms in this chain that we've got to break before it boils out. The third one is one that is called octane. And it's octane because octane means 8, and we will then have 8 carbon atoms in the chain. So going back to our first slide that we showed you in terms of how we distill the crude oil, and with our new understanding of how the carbon atoms actually work in terms of the chains, we can see that the ones that have the least amount of carbon atoms in the chain are the ones that evaporate first, and those are our gases. And we work our way down until we get to things like our petrol or gasoline, kerosene, diesel, our lubricating oils, waxes, and the like. So what is the actual difference between 93 and 95 octane, and how do they produce it? Well, once we've boiled out the heptane and the octane, all we do is we blend the two together. So 93 octane is in fact 93% octane and 7% heptane blended together. And 95 octane is logically 95% octane plus a 5% blend of heptane. So what is the implication of 93 and 95 in our engines? Well, I want to give you a little bit of a lesson in science from Pascal, who you all recognize his name. And one of his laws tells us that for a closed container, the higher the temperature, the higher the pressure in the container. And the inverse is true. The higher the pressure in the container, the higher the temperature. So how does that relate now to our engines? So in the main, we have two types of engines. We have a high pressure engine and a low pressure engine. You might have read about a compression ratio when you've looked at the specs on an engine. And what the compression ratio tells us is the difference in volume that the piston scribes through versus the volume that's left over between the top of the piston and the start of the head. That's our compression ratio. So a little rule of thumb that I've got is that if your compression ratio on your engine is less than 10:1, chances are you've got a low pressure engine. And an example of that would be typically found in our old 8-valve motors. If it's larger than 10:1, we're going to have a high pressure engine, and examples of those are our 16-valve motors. And in fact, these days with direct injection engines, we're sitting at compression ratios of about 12:1. So we've learnt already that it takes more energy to create octane than it does to create heptane. So the logic is that it takes more energy and more temperature to burn octane versus heptane. And herein lies the challenge. If you've got a low pressure engine and you put 95 fuel into your low pressure engine, it's not going to get to enough of a temperature or pressure scenario to burn all your 95 fuel. So you're wasting good money after bad. You're absolutely not going to get any more performance out of it. In fact, 93 and 95 octane have the same calorific value. In other words, the same amount of energy per kilogram. So it's not like you get this additional burst of power out of the fuel. It's all about at what temperature the fuel combusts at. And the same is true, and this is very, very important for us as consumers. One thing you'll notice is that 93 fuel is cheaper than 95. So obviously it's very tempting for us in these economic times, and we've just now had an announcement of a massive fuel price increase. It's very tempting for us to go, well, hang on a second, I think I'm going to rather fill up my vehicle with 93 octane because it's cheaper. But the problem with that is that we now have a high pressure engine, which means we're creating higher temperatures and pressures. And that means that the 93 octane fuel is literally going to combust before the piston reaches its top dead center position. And what that causes is pre-detonation. And pre-detonation is devastating for an engine. That's the first point. So we're going to introduce reliability issues. But the second most important point is that pre-detonation simply causes our engine management system to start retarding the timing to cope with all this pre-detonation. So now we're going to get even worse fuel consumption, worse efficiency out of our engine. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we're not going to see any economic advantage by putting 93 fuel into a high pressure engine. In fact, the reverse is true. It's probably going to cost us more in maintenance. So that's it. That's the difference between 93 and 95 octane. And we've seen a little bit on how we produce fuel in the first place. And I think the key message here is that don't be tempted to put the wrong fuels into your engine. Make sure that the fuel matches what the manufacturer has specified. They've specified that for a reason, and it's only going to end in tears with further damage or worse fuel consumption. But thanks for watching this episode, and make sure to look out for future episodes on how things work.
Peter, so absolutely brilliant advice.
Thank you.
Now when we need it most. I watched that video earlier today again, and I just learned again so much from taking away and stuff that we don't think about, the high pressure versus the low pressure engines, etc., etc.
What I would encourage people to do when watching these videos is also just be careful of all the, I want to say this carefully, old housewives' tales that are out there about certain things, and I think this is what these How Things Work videos address.
And again, I think it's important to say, Fritz, one of our biggest supporters over the 5 seasons that we've had, Suzuki Auto South Africa. Thank you very much to Brendan and Tony and everybody at Suzuki Auto South Africa. We had the pleasure of meeting Chris you know, from the motorcycle team.
Yeah.
Spending a week with him.
Yeah,
What a great guy.
They've just got the best guys working at and you can see why they achieving the success that they're
Yeah,
achieving.
for sure. I mean, their success is deserved, no doubt about it. They've got a great ethos from head office right through, permeates through to their dealerships, and they've got some very, very delighted
That's
customers.
something that me, from an outsider, sort of notices.
Yeah.
There's bikes, there's cars, there's great brands with great
They've got Marine.
They got outboard as well.
perceptions. No, I mean all the brands.
Yeah.
They've got so many. You've got perceptions. For instance, BMW. It's a great brand, and there's lots of controversy, but the dealerships are nice.
Yeah,
They've
yeah.
got the experience, and then there's other brands that don't offer that. And with Suzuki, it seems like they are doing something right.
All rounded.
They've got an X factor, if I can put it that way.
Yeah. And I'm proud to be associated.
For sure.
Absolutely. All right, guys, let's end off season 5 with some fun. How's about fun time? You must press the button now. Fun
No,
time.
but
You must press the button. Press the button. Press the
can we
button.
bring?
Press the
Wait.
button.
No,
Press-
fun
press
is
the
there.
button.
Go
Press-
for it.
Is this one?
Yeah,
This one.
go for
I'm
it.
going to press the button. All right, so we said there was a bit of a theme tonight, or this afternoon. Oh my goodness. So fun time, we've played around with fun time a little bit, and we've had some Tapper of the Week videos and some memes. But today we've got some memes lined up for you. So here's the first one: regular or premium? I'm just looking. Thanks.
Oh man, I need that one. Because we do, on our training, I always tell the guys, don't say, can I help you? Because your
Yes.
customers are just going to say, no thanks, I'm just looking.
But this is where it's come to, eh? And the next one. I did something very similar as a boy, a young boy, but luckily not into the fuel tank. So mom is not going to be so happy when she sees the gas tank full. So I was a little boy, and what I did is I stuck the hose pipe into the exhaust. And filled up the entire exhaust system with water.
By the way, you're assuming they're filling up the tank there.
Well, if it's in South Africa, maybe they're draining.
So I think there's a bit of a siphoning effect going on.
You guys say mom's not going to be happy, but maybe she is. I saw this one meme where the girl hugs the guy and she says, wow, that smells expensive. And he says, yes, it's 97.
All right, and then the last one for today is the next one. Let's see what's up. The car faints after seeing the price at the pump.
Yeah.
Well, that's about true. You know what, South Africa, at least we've still always got the sense of humour going.
Nothing else.
That sort of saves us from a lot of serious stuff. The funniest one that I saw this week is you actually also saw it and spoke about it earlier.
That's
where the insurance one.
Insurance
Yeah.
one.
So the guy gets stuck next to the road and phones his insurance company. Without petrol, he gets stuck. Phones his insurance company to send down the breakdown guys to come and help him with the fuel starvation, and the insurance company just said no. We would rather write off the car. Anyway.
Because it's too expensive to fix the problem.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, guys, that brings us to
Hopefully
the
not.
end. Yeah.
Hopefully not. Hopefully all the activists and that will make a plan.
There
We'll get
is
some relief.
I have no doubt. Again, I had a chat with another friend on the way here. There will be a point reached where they can no longer increase the price because nobody will buy. They'll make it happen. I think this is a temporary blip, and we'll be back to normal sooner than we think.
All right, guys, that brings us to the end of season 5 of Let's Talk Automotive. We're going to be on a bit of a production break because, you know, we said that we were busy, especially this guy is very busy. So we're going to take a break, do some reviews, get some footage up into, what do we say?
The archives.
The archives, so that we can come back with season 6 with a bang. We've got Wayne Duvenage
Oh, I can't wait.
lined up for the first episode of season 6.
Yeah.
I think that's going to
What
be
is he?
interesting.
He's the
From
Outer.
Ota.
He's the
Outer.
guy that doesn't
Undoing
stand
tax
for
abuse.
nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to
Looking
that.
forward to
Can't
that.
wait.
Yeah, this is not the end.
No?
Yeah.
No.
What's it, 69, 68?
68 today.
68.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time spent with you guys. Thank you so much for indulging us.
Right, guys, have a good one. We'll see you when we see you. Get, all the information on our social media platforms. We'll see you guys
Excellent.
soon. Cheers.
And we're looking forward to next season. Cheers, guys.